Dad plus me equals tenuous relationship. Mistress plus me equals, hi, how you doing? Good, you? Good, type relationship. My dad, 60, had his mistress, 30, before my mama, 60, got sick. He continued to see her when we found out, and he's still with her when Mama passed. It was a downhill battle. She was in so much pain every day, and he never visited once. Dad refused to divorce Mama because of financial reasons, but ultimately, he'd lose more than he'd gain by signing the papers. Yes, he's always been a selfish man. I, 25, took care of Mama and stayed at the hospital longer than I could remember, but I didn't care. I wanted to be with her, and I never wanted her to be lonely, not even for a second. I met his mistress a handful of times, and admittedly, I behaved childishly by pretending she's a clump of cantankerous cells. Sorry, I'm still a bitter bee. Dad's been trying harder to me in my life after years of being a part-time parent. Dinners, lunches, breakfasts, or family gatherings are nothing but a courtesy to my relatives. If I could, I would have gone no contact with both. I resent the mistress, but I resent my dad on a whole new level. Dad's been hinting about having a relationship as a family, and I didn't notice their play angle until I found out that mistress was pregnant with their second child. Nothing against the innocent child, but I'm not interested in any relationship with anyone related to mistress. They hinted at me about wanting to move into my guest bedroom of my boyfriend's 37 house. Everything above occurred before quarantine. Now, they're desperate for the room that I've already declined. I'm not sure what happened to their apartment, but I got the sense that they were aiming for my boyfriend's generosity of paying for some baby products and maybe months of free housing. Bless his soul when he refused to let strangers into his home. He met Dad twice, never met mistress. 3 weeks ago, mistress lost the baby. Circumstances a bit fuzzy, so no one knows the full details. I may be resting bee-faced in her eyes, but I never wished any harm to come to them, especially the baby. When Dad reached out again to ask about the guest room and put me on the spot with speakers on to listen to mistress sob about the hardship of losing her baby, they're struggling emotionally and financially, and they need help. I give her my condolences on her traumatic loss and that I can lend them some money to get back on their feet, but I will not let them step foot inside a place that is untainted by this emotional damage between the three of us. I'm not willing to let them intrude on my life more than they already have. My boyfriend left the decision to me. He doesn't want to get involved in family drama. They have other people that can help them. They don't need me. Am I the idiot? Maybe I'm the bitter idiot blinded by resentment. Not the idiot. It's absolutely not your problem. How can a 60-plus-year-old man who avoided a divorce be that hard up? I don't buy it, but if it's true, it's his own irresponsible nature. It's not like you wished harm on them, but you definitely do not have to be there for your father when he was never there for you or your mother. It doesn't matter that they were separated. He does not deserve any kind of sympathy from you, and good on you for saying no. It is sad that the mistress lost her baby, but their own downfalls and struggles are not your own, nor should they be made into your own by your father. He's a grown man who should be able to make a plan for living arrangements. My mother-in-law has informed me that my husband's ex-girlfriend will be coming to Christmas Eve dinner, and that I should just get used to the idea because that's how it is. The girl has been an issue in our relationship since day one. A bit of backstory. A few years before I met my husband, she dated him. Their relationship ended when she made some absolutely disgusting and potentially life-ruining allegations against him. He was arrested. She had history with one of the officers, so he made it personal. Taken to the police station, had charges held against him, and was interrogated. He hadn't done anything that she said he had, so of course he eventually managed to get everything dropped. Shortly after we got together, she then started DMing me on Facebook, trying to drive a wedge between us to split us up. When she was blocked, I received messages from random people for months bad-mouthing my husband. Fast forward 2 years, and we find out that his parents have been allowing her to come to the property and help them with their horses. And we find out she has been playing the sympathy card to work her way into the family. I then tried to play nice and at least tolerate having her around for the sake of peace in the family, even though I know how much it gets under my husband's skin that she is around. I finally gave up being nice when she flat out ignored me at the local show when I was preparing the horses to be led out. It has now been 5 years since this all started. Now she is living on the in-laws' property and makes herself at home in the main farmhouse, while she has her own fully self-contained unit that she pays to rent. Year before last Christmas, I was the bad guy because I made it quite apparent that I did not believe she belonged at the family dinner table on Christmas Eve or at present opening the next morning. Am I the idiot for not being nice about this girl being present in our lives? End note. My brother and sister-in-law also have issue with this girl being around, as she tried to get with brother-in-law first and ducked with his head before she went after my husband. But bringing up any of this with the parents brings the family into an enormous nuclear fight. Apparently, I'm trying to tear the family apart because I don't want to stand for her being included in what is supposed to be a family occasion. Edit. We, husband and I, have on many occasions made our stance on having her around very clear, and every time it ends with us getting either kicked off the property or told that they can be friends with whoever they want. The argument over this Christmas was had between my husband and myself, and he made it clear that if we did bring it up or choose to stay away, quote, if we stop her from seeing her grandson at Christmas, she will cut us off from the family. He has always stood against his parents and defended me when needed, so it's no shortfall on his side. He has given up fighting them over it because he doesn't want to lose his parents. Edit number 2. If I say I want to spend Christmas away from here, I'm apparently keeping the grandchild away from his grandmother and am using that as a weapon against her, and she will cut us off from the family. When it has nothing to do with our son. I just don't want my family to be around lying homewreckers. This whole situation is exhausting, and I voiced so many times how over it I am, but unfortunately, there's nothing we can do until the issue resolves itself. I'm just hoping she poops the bed a few too many times, metaphorically speaking, and ends up getting kicked out. Edit number 3. Inviting the in-laws to ours is difficult because we live over an hour away and don't have anywhere for them to stay at our house. The farmhouse is big, and people that travel can stay. That's why everything is generally held there. I've reached the point where I'm just going to have to be present, silent, and retire to our room with our kid as soon as possible. I don't want our toddler around the ex. She doesn't deserve that privilege. The whole situation just sucks. Not the idiot. What the hell? Have Christmas Eve with your brother-in-law and sister-in-law and spare everyone the issue of having to deal with her. You and your husband need to have a frank conversation. This is insanely unhealthy for y'all, and the ex needs to be cut out of your lives 100%. If his parents are willing to choose her over their own son, daughter-in-law, and grandchild, then they don't deserve to be in your lives at all. My advice? Don't go to Christmas Eve dinner. Make it clear why you aren't coming. If they choose the ex, well, that's on them. You are not the reason he won't have contact with his parents. They are. They are actively choosing the person who hurt their son over him. Many years ago, I met my now husband while studying abroad. We instantly clicked and had a very happy 3 years together. We broke up when I decided I wanted to go back to my home country, and he wasn't willing to move as he inherited the family business. It was horrible, and we both felt like we had lost the love of our life. Back home, I told myself I was over him and eventually started dating again. He did the same. We had zero contact for about 5 years. Then, after a heart-to-heart with myself, I realized that I wasn't over him, and I could never forgive myself if I didn't at least try to reconcile. I sought out his Facebook, which was pretty blank, and messaged him. I told him I still loved him and would like to try again. He told me that he was in a relationship, and we left it at that. 3 months later, he messaged me, saying that my message made him realize that he wanted me and no one else. He had broken up with his ex, so he was free to reconcile if I still wanted to. Long story short, we've been married for 3 years and have a little daughter. Now, on to the problem. His ex never came to terms with the fact that they split. Ever since I got back to his, now our, town, she's been talking crap about me, telling everyone that I'm a homewrecker, a W, you name it. My husband has tried to get her to stop many times. I have apologized to her for how things went, but she won't stop. We live in a small rural town, so gossip spreads. It hasn't been easy at times, but we reached our breaking point when our daughter started kindy with the ex's niece, and suddenly kids started calling our daughter horrible names that they no doubt heard from ex-girlfriend, because no kid would ever come up with something like this themselves. My husband and I filed a civil suit for defamation against me, but we were hoping that any kind of action would make her stop. Well, we won. Ex-girlfriend's employer heard about it, again, small town, and let her go, and now she's having a hard time finding work again. I'm starting to feel like an idiot, because half the town seems to think that by taking away her love, I had done enough damage, and I didn't need to ruin her like this. But at the same time, I feel like enough is enough, and we and our daughter shouldn't be punished for loving each other. Not the idiot. It was unfortunate for the ex, but had they been solid, you coming back into your husband's life wouldn't have affected their relationship. He didn't cheat, but broke things off with her before contacting you. The fact that there were still feelings after a 5-year period of no contact shows how strong the attachment was between you. And after 3 years of marriage, X still isn't over it? X ruined her own life, not you. She crossed that big red line when she involved your child, so I can't see how else you were supposed to handle it. You didn't ruin her life. She tried to ruin yours, and your child's, and you put a stop to it. She willingly told lies about you. She encouraged harassment of a child. She chose to make, proven by court, defamatory comments about you. Her employer chose to terminate her for her actions. You did nothing here except protect yourself and your child. If any of these small-town asshats criticize you, it's so unfortunate we gave her so many chances to stop lying and defaming my character, if only she hadn't chosen to continue to do so. I, 19 female Native American, do beadwork as a hobby, side hustle, and have since I was 14. I'm not the greatest ever, but my stuff is decent enough that I make a pretty good amount of extra money from it. My older brother's 26 male, fiancé, 35 female, is a nightmare. My whole family does their best to be respectful of her and of their relationship, but she treated us like a unique oddity because of our culture, and when that fascination wore off, she began to treat us like we were uncivilized and dumb. I argue with her a lot, and I was certain she hated my guts. Until a few days ago when she came to me with a gift card that had $150 in it. She was being pure sweet to me and said she was sorry for getting off on the wrong foot. I said it was okay, I understood, but wished she'd be more respectful of us. Then she started talking about her plans for a Native American wedding with my brother. I was annoyed and knew it was going to be disrespectful as duck, but I didn't say anything. I just talked to my bro later. Then she asked how much I charge for the earrings I make. I told her $35. She tried to barter with me, and when I told her I was firm on my price, she got mad but was quiet. After a bit, she said, "Okay, could you make a pair for me and my bridesmaids and maids of honor? 12 pairs by November? I could do $400 for them." I never take orders because I hate being rushed, so I told her I'd have to think about it. She left all angry. About an hour later, my bro came into my room and was getting mad at me. He said his fiancée already paid for the earrings, and why couldn't I just give them a family discount in exchange for being in their wedding? I told him no, she didn't pay. She gave me a gift. He asked for it back, and I told him no. She didn't say it was for earrings. An argument ensued between my bro, his girl, and I that ended with her telling me I wasn't allowed to come to their wedding and wouldn't be allowed to see my nephew, niece if they had kids. I said, "Cool, I don't like you anyway, and never wanted to be in your wedding, and that they weren't getting the money back." Then, she had the audacity to go into my room and start looking around for the money. I told her to get out, and she started insulting me and my beadwork. I asked her where that hatred for my work was when she was trying to buy from me. She said it was to be nice because I don't get sales. I informed her that I did in fact get plenty of sales and didn't have to rely on trashy, tacky Karens to buy from me. She called me R and cried hard and played victim. She called me a fat B. So I said that as fat as I am, I'm glad I'm not built like a barrel on sticks with the big A head and hog body she has. My brother is now threatening to disown me if I don't apologize and make the earrings. I know I was argumentative, but I felt so disrespected. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. She can't hate you and treat you badly and then expect you to make her stuff for her wedding. Then she can't give you a deal and then get mad when you consider it. She needs to understand that you aren't a big business and can't take huge orders. Your sister-in-law seems awful, but you should return the gift card to avoid getting down to her level. Edit. I decided to take the higher path here. I apologized to my future sister-in-law and my brother and gave the money back, and I explained to my future sister-in-law that beadwork means a lot to me, and I have a very hard time with taking orders, but that I would love to make her a pair for her wedding for free, but I just couldn't do 11 other pairs. She was extremely quiet and sat with a grimace on her face the whole time we all spoke, and I could tell it wasn't good enough for her. But she never said anything. My brother and I cried it out afterwards when we spoke alone, and he said he didn't want to choose between her and his family because he cares about her. I told him I understood and wouldn't make him make that choice and would try harder to get along with her. I asked him why he's been distancing himself from his culture and from speaking our language together, and he said it was because it makes her feel uncomfortable. I told him that I know our culture means a lot to him and that he shouldn't have to put that aside for her and that he shouldn't allow her to get away with disrespecting his family and culture just because he loves her. He got quiet, and I could tell that I made him think about things. Well, as I suspected, it wasn't enough for my future sister-in-law, Karen. She and my brother argued all last night because she was trying to convince him to take my beading supplies to make me do the pears for the wedding. She started insulting my family and me and threw a big fit when he stood up to her. Currently where we stand is that she is bawling her eyes out on our porch, and my brother doesn't know how the wedding is going to go or if it's happening at all.